Welcome back to Manifest with SI Power with your host Dwight. And on this segment, we're going to talk about the power of words. So we're going to come from the scriptures, and you can take this as a religious lesson if you want to, but that's not the intent and that's not the purpose. The intent is to give you sound principle on you manifesting and how you're always manifesting. But now you can shift, you can pivot, you can adjust, and you can begin to manifest the actual results that you truly desire, a heart's intention. So let's go to Romans 4, where it talks about Abraham against hope believed in hope. And he called those things that be not as though they were. Right? Words are thoughts verbally expressed, inwardly and outwardly. So there's no way around it. Thought is driving everything. Thought drives emotions and feelings. Thought drives the story or words you say. Thought drives beliefs. Thought drives your perceptions. Thought drives your expectations. Thought drives your habits. Thought drives your behaviors, and thought drives your actions. So thoughts are affirmations, right? Spoken out loud, words spoken out loud, speech. You're given two gifts of mind and speech. So it tells you here in the scripture that Abraham called things that be not as though they were. A good example of this is when someone has a puppy or a dog and they're calling their name and the dog is not there. And then shortly the dog appears, it comes back home, right? That's calling something that is not there and then it appears. That's calling something that's not there and then it appears. So if you're claiming something, you're decreeing something, you're declaring something, you're prophesying something, you're confessing something, right now it's invisible. But if you stick with it, it's going to become visible, or it's going to come from the unseen to the seen, or it's going to come from the formless into form, because creation is finished. And Jesus said it is finished. So let's talk about the power of the words, right? So Proverbs 18:21 talks about the power of life and death is in the tongue. Remember, this is not a religious lesson. This is working for everybody. The people that you think is sinners, the people that you think is atheists and all of this, like, it's really nonsense. When you get to the depth of it, everybody is saying, I am. What is I am? God. It's saying Yad-He Vav-He. It is saying Yahweh. It is saying Yeshua. So there ain't all this stuff that we putting labels on. That stuff don't exist. You can think what you want to think. So everybody is using speech, right? Because we're given only two gifts, mind and speech. And from that, everything evolves. So everybody is using speech, right? To condemn themselves or to elevate themselves. So the power of life and death is in the tongue, right? Then in Proverbs 6:2, it says, by your words, you're condemned. By your words, you're justified. So by your words, you're binding yourself, and by your words, you're setting yourself free. Then over in John 6:63, Jesus said, the words that I speak are power and they are life. Power and life. So he's telling you that words are spirits, and you're going to always get a harvest. You're going to always get a return investment on the words that you speak, because creation is finished. Energy, that's all there is, right? Nothing can be created and nothing can be destroyed. So the words that you put out, towards yourself, towards anybody else, is going to come back to you like a boomerang. So you might want to become more mindful and more conscientious and more aware and more conscious of what it is that you're saying to yourself, about others, about your views of the world and the universe, because you're getting a harvest on it. You're getting an outcome on it. You're getting a result on it. It is going to be returned back to you just like a reconciled check. There's no escaping this, right? So what do we talk about? We talked about Romans 4, right? Abraham calling things that be not as though they are. That's manifesting, right? Then we talked about Proverbs 18:21. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Then we talked about Proverbs 6:2. By your words, you're condemned. By your words, you're justified. And I flipped it for a reason. Because more often than not, we're on the negative side than the positive side. Whenever someone thinks something, they're automatically thinking the worst, right? So they think negatively first. They think positively, if at all, second. So then we talked about John 6:63, where Jesus said that the words I speak are power and life. So he's saying that words are spirits. So words go out like a traveler and they bring back the results. So become more mindful of the words that you're speaking, because your words to a large degree are silent thoughts, and then they're verbalized and they go out and get your harvest and bring it back to you. That's the way it works. I'll leave you again with what Abraham said. I call things that be not as though they were. If that's not manifestation, I don't know what is. I'll leave you with this quote from Neville. You're already the person that you desire to be. Your unwillingness to accept this is the only reason you don't see it. And then a second quote by Neville. An assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. An assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact.